I'm Toni Fein, and I'm eager to read this book to you today. What do you think it's going to be about? The cover often gives us a hint, doesn't it? Sometimes the title tells you, and sometimes the photograph or the illustration on the cover will give you a hint too. Today the title says Crabs, and that's a photograph of a crab, isn't it? Do you think that's what this book is going to be about? I think you're right. There we see Crabs. It's from a series called Oceans Alive, and the author is Anne Herridges. Crabs are ocean animals. Some crabs live in the ocean, right under the water. This one looks like it's sitting on some coral right under the water. It's a bright red, beautiful crab, isn't it? And others live near the ocean on the shore. This one is brown with spots. That looks like it's standing on sand. Have you ever played on sand? Maybe at the beach or maybe in a sandbox? Crabs like to do that too. They like to dig holes. A hard shell protects a crab's soft body. If you tap on the crab's head, it's hard. Crabs molt as they grow. Can you say molt? That's what crabs do to change into a new hard shell. They drop the old one, pull their arms out and squeeze their bodies out. Here's an empty space where the crab used to be. That's just the shell left behind. It got to be too small. They slide out of their old shells and grow in a new, bigger shell. And when those new shell hardens on the crab's body, once it's out in the air. This crab is blue and red and yellow. That's quite a colorful crab, isn't it? Other crabs find empty shells to live in, and they move when the shell doesn't fit anymore. There's the shell this crab has borrowed, and look how much of the crab is sticking out. Do you think that crab might have grown a little too big for its shell? I think so. Hey crab, you might need to look for a new shell. Time for a new shell. That happens to you if you get a little big sometimes. Does your t-shirt feel a little too tight? Or your pants get a little too short because you've done so much growing? Same thing happened to the crab, but instead of a t-shirt or shorts, that crab needs a new shell. Crabs have eyes on stalks. This is a very close-up picture of the crab's head. There are its two eyes, and there's its mouth. Here we can see the two eyes and its mouth, and you can see that the eyes are sticking up from his head. Those are called stalks. Some crabs can wave their eyes around to look in different directions at the same time. Should we try making some crab stalks for our crab eyes? Can you put your fingers out, put them on your head, and we can look around. One can look up and one can look down. Those two eyes can look in different directions because that's how crab eyes work. One can look this way, one can look the other way, one can look behind you, and one can look in front. It would be kind of handy to look in all different directions, wouldn't it? Our eyes just look together. They look that way together, they go that way, they look up, and they look down. Our eyes stick together, and we don't have stalks, do we, on our eyes? They're just tucked into our heads. We're a little different from crabs. There are the stalks on the crab eyes looking in different directions. Crabs have 10 legs. The front legs have claws. 10 legs, that's a lot. How many legs do you have? Just 2. We have 2 legs as people, but a crab has 10. And he has 2 claws. Some crabs have 1 claw that's bigger than the other claw. Can you see how big that claw is compared to that claw? Can you make some crab claws with your hands? You can make one little claw with just 1 finger and your thumb, and 1 big claw with your whole hand and your, oh yes, that's very crab-like. Snap, 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 snap. What do crabs use their claws for? What do you think? There's a really big crab claw. Snap, 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 snap. That's what crabs like to do with their claws. Crabs use their claws to gather food. Oh, so you can pick up with your crab claw. What do you find? Some nice seaweed to eat? Crabs eat dead plants or animals. Crabs also use their claws to dig nests. There's the crab using its claw to dig a nest. Can you do a little digging with your crab claw? Dig it out, scoop out the sand, scoop, 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 scoop. Yeah, that's how a crab would do it. This crab has a shell, and there's another one. His friend has a shell too. Crabs even use their claws to fight. Snap, 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 snap. I guess they scare other crabs away by snapping at them. A crab's other legs are for walking. Did you know that a crab walks sideways? Shall we try that? Let's give it a try. Maybe you can walk like a crab. Will you stand up with me? Remember to have your skinny claw and your fat claw. We can walk sideways. Crabs only walk sideways. Practicing walking sideways, they don't go forward and they don't go back. They walk sideways. So if I want to get back to the book, I have to walk sideways like a crab. There's that crab walking sideways. Scooter, scooter, scooter. Some crabs have back legs shaped like paddles, and they help them swim. Look at those. All those legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There must be 10. Just only the little bit of one that we can see back there. 10 legs. That's how many legs the crab has, isn't it? What color is that crab? It's quite a bright color, isn't it? It's almost the same color as a fire truck, a bright red. Crabs can also grow another leg if they lose one. If one of their legs falls off, they can grow a whole new one. Can we do that? No, we have to be careful of our legs because we can't grow a new one if the one falls off. So we try not to let our legs fall off, do we? No, legs don't fall off, our legs. Crabs hide when they are in danger. Some crabs take their legs and tuck them in close into their shells. That's right, all tucked in close. Other crabs blend into their surroundings to stay safe. Crabs are very amazing. Look at that. So this bright red crab is sitting on the brown sand, and you can see it pretty well. It's not very hidden, is it? But this crab is almost the same color as its background. And it's a little harder to spot. You can see that there's a crab there with its legs and all, but unless you look carefully, it's a bit hard to see that there's a crab there. That's a little like camouflage. I'm wearing a white shirt, and the white wall, it's a little hard to see where my shirt stops and the wall starts. It sort of blends in. But where I have my blue jeans on, you can see easily against the white wall, there's the bright blue of the dark blue of the blue jeans. That's called camouflage. If you're about the same color as the background behind you, it makes it harder to find. What color shirt do you have on today? Can you find something that's that color to lean against so that it's hard to spot you? Yeah, it's much harder to see if you're leaning on something that's the same color that you're wearing. And that's called camouflage. That's what that crab is doing. It's camouflaging to hide. Crabs blend into their surroundings to stay safe. Crabs are truly amazing. I think so too. Do you? And that is the end of crabs. Can you be a little like a crab, making pinchers and eyes on stalks and walking sideways? It's fun to be a crab sometimes, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed reading the story and being a crab today. I look forward to a new book next week. I hope to see you then.